I've been around for 3 decades, and I have nearly 3 decades, and I've observed this phenomenon of white sympathetic people of various stripes being intimidated and held hostage. Therefore, the totality of the white sympathetic sphere held hostage by these folks who, for lack of a different name or better term for them, maybe you could call them like white power cultists. Maybe they will show up. What they do is they pathologically fixate on a group of people, and they demand that you pathologically fixate on that group of people as well, as a litmus test for whether or not you are legitimate. And then the substance of their activism is what they refer to as naming. So you just say this group, and then that's it. That's all there is to it. That's the activism. And they demand World War II lingo. So when these people perceive that any of these things, entities or individuals, are beginning to achieve for white people, whether it's an objective reality or not, these violent, low-life, low-brow, unibrow, cultist freaks, they show up, and they show up in increasing numbers. And they begin at this very low IQ, low impulse control, high time preference way, demanding a very specific behavior and a very specific verbiage. And they project themselves all the time. They'll claim that this group or that group is a cult, because they won't do things the exact way that these cultist thugs want them to do and speak. They have no character, these people, these lowlifes. So they have no problem saying the most repulsive lies. In fact, they love it. So they come in, and if there isn't obedience to them right away, they begin character assassination. They begin slandering. They begin intimidating. They begin misrepresenting. And then when they're not getting their way that way, they begin death threatening. You people are the problem, because you won't allow other people who want to do something good for white people to serve white people in the way that they think is effective. You people show up always to destroy if it doesn't conform. I am calling on the totality of the white sympathetic sphere to put an end to the fear engendered and this hostage state that these bastards hold the white sympathetic sphere in, because this is a terminal disease for the white race. If we do not put an end to these people having a voice, to allowing these people to get their way, there will be no reclamation of our destiny, because white people are never taking back our destiny by pathologically fixating on another group of human beings, period. And this false dichotomy that these low IQ'd shits put up before you, that you either hate some other group of humanity or you are a suppliant servant of theirs. This is nothing more than a false dichotomy, because they're too low IQ to understand that the dichotomy is fake. And where they are, at least midwits, and able to see that they're putting up a false dichotomy, they love it, because they want to hold you hostage. They want to force you in to this idea that the only way you can serve white people, the only way you can serve our interests, is by hating some other group of humanity, by fixating on this group from dawn till dusk and all through the night, naming them. That's the litmus test. If we don't shut these people up, there's no hope for white well-being. They are the biggest impediment to us, not anti-whites. It's not anti-whites. We have the formula that defeats anti-whiteism in every conversation, do we not? Even their best and brightest, these reporters writing about the work that we're doing, they cannot help but speak the way we have trained them to speak and to lose the way we have intended them to lose. No, what's happening now is what happens recurrently in the white sympathetic sphere. And that is that the lowest of intelligence are allowed to have a voice. The lowest intelligence, the most violent, are allowed to have a voice, and they're allowed to hold the rest of us hostage. And then those are the people, those are the folks who decide the course that we're going to take in defense of our people. And they contend with anti-whites who have 200 IQs. Who do you think's going to win? That's why we've been losing. That's why we continue losing. Because the worst of us decide the direction we're going to take against the best of them. There isn't a hope in hell. Not a hope in hell for Western kind if we continue to allow these people to hold us hostage and to get their way. So I have a little analogy here I want to share. We're not going to be talking about puppies. We're going to talk about jaywalkers. And these cultists, what do they demand? They demand that you name the jaywalker, don't they? They want nothing more than the naming of the jaywalkers. They demand that you just name the jaywalkers, that you talk about all the times that people have jaywalked and they've caused auto accidents. People have been hurt, and they've caused pedestrians to get hit by cars because the cars are swerving out of the way of the jaywalker, and then they end up hitting somebody who's actually in the crosswalk. These folks don't understand that if you teach a population to morally and socially condemn by way of self-serving concepts, to socially and morally and ethically condemn those who jaywalk, that the moment that anyone jaywalks, irrespective of any immutable characteristics they might have, all of society will turn on them and will say, get your ass back on the sidewalk. And you can cross at the crosswalk, but you're not going to jaywalk in front of us. They can't comprehend it. And more importantly, it's not only a matter of not being able to comprehend that that is how you achieve victory and the reclamation of our destiny, but the formula to understand these jaywalking, fixating, pathological freaks is that if you are doing good for the white race, which we are objectively doing and have been, we've changed the language on planet Earth, and we continue to change it. And it was language that defeated Western kind, not bullets and tanks. If you are doing good for white people, but you are not fixated on jaywalkers in this pathological way, these people will assassinate your character, will death threat you, will do the same to everybody who agrees with you until they get their way. But if you are pathologically, cultistly using World War II language and fixated on jaywalkers from dawn till dusk and all through the night, you can ruin the lives of white people. Individually, families, whole groups of white people. You can ruin their lives with your prescriptions, and these cultist bastards will love you. So that's the formula to understand the people that the white sympathetic sphere has allowed to hold itself hostage for all of these years. And the time has come for an end to be put to it. It's either going to be us, and then we are able to reclaim our destiny, or it's not going to happen at all. If these people actually cared about white people, then the good that we're doing, they would celebrate, even if they hated the fact that we didn't fixate on jaywalkers like them. Even if they hated the fact that we didn't use their World War II lingo, they would still celebrate us, but they don't. It's nothing but character assassination, misrepresentation, death threats, and I, for one, and I know many of you, are not going to be held hostage any longer.